Did you want to start the recording now, Anthony?
It started, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are reconvening the regular evening council meeting of April the 27th. Last week, we heard non-development reports 9.1 through 9.3, which were moved ahead of development reports. And we also heard development variance permit 8.1 and development variance permit 8.2 from that agenda. Tonight, we will resume the meeting at development variance permit report 8.3. But first, we need to hear from Ms. Needham, our corporate officer. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to advise the public that once again, this open electronic meeting is being held without public in attendance as permitted by Ministerial Order M083. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the District of Summerland website.
Thank you. Councillor Barkle, could I just ask you to mute your mic, please? Thanks. Okay, so on to 8.3, development variance permit DVP 20-004 at 7726 Higgin Avenue. Over to...
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Can everyone see the screen? Perfect. So this is item 8.3 related to the development variance permit at 7726 Higgin Avenue. The application in front of council is to consider a request for the minimum rear yard setback reduction from 7.5 metres to 5.5 metres to facilitate the construction of a single family dwelling on what is to be a newly created single family parcel. The subject property is zoned as RSD1, single family zone, and the low density residential designation is contained on the site for the official community plan. The surrounding area not impacted by any development permit areas, but you can see adjacent to the foreshore and high hazard area to the west. The applicant is proposing to vary the minimum rear yard setback to facilitate the construction of a single family dwelling. As I said, the reduction is from the required 7.5 metres to 5.5 metres, representing a variance request of 2 metres. The application or the owner previously applied for a variance to council for a rear yard setback from 7.5 metres to 2.15 metres in December of 2019. That application was denied by council. A number of concerns were raised by the adjoining neighbour directly to the south around the impact of the variance on their amenity and their rear yard that exists directly to the south. After the original application was defeated by council, the owners have been presented the adjacent neighbour with 3 different development concepts as I've outlined in the staff report. The first one was to reduce the size of the original development concept by 2 metres and request a rear yard setback from 7.5 metres to 4 metres. The second option presented for their consideration was the creation of a new floor plan that still allows for a unified setback along the street, but requests a reduction in the rear yard setback from 7.5 to 5.5 metres, which is in front of council tonight for a variance request. The other option was presenting an application or a request proposal, for the neighbours to consider that would not require a subdivision, that would instead build an attached garage with a secondary suite above it. All of the options in front of the neighbour were to be the same building height. Assuming bylaw compliance with all other bylaw provisions, the requested variance in conjunction with measures to increase privacy to neighbours include fewer and opaque windows, landscaping, and in staff's review, you can see up on the screen, the applicants intending on screening where they can the reduction in the setback to limit the impact on the adjacent neighbour to the south. This plan was provided by the applicant that also shows the enhanced landscaping at the back to somewhat offset the impact of the reduced setback on the neighbouring property. The next screen shows a bit of an overlay of the adjacent property to the south. We've obviously received a letter of concern from that neighbour in terms of the impact that the variance would have on the property. And this overlay just transposes the proposed development on the subject property, and you can see the impact that it may have on the adjacent property directly to the south. So staff are recommending that the application be supported by council, largely in part looking back at the this concept, which shows the setback. Looking back at some of the original concepts I showed before, the building height, in staff's opinion, at the 5.5 meter setback would have not much of an additional impact than setting the building back where it's proposed at its current location. So complying with the bylaw, in staff's opinion, doesn't have any significant change to the setback that's in front of council for consideration. So in addition to the landscaping and the design elements that have been put into the top story of the development, staff are recommending that council support this application and move the variance forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, Mayor Boot, you're on mute.
I think she said Councillor Carlson.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, you didn't?
Karen, you had your hand up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to read into the record the correspondence that was received on this particular item. So we did receive 2 pieces of correspondence from El Sopao in the Crescent Beach area. M. Smurl submitted 2, and she's on Hagan Avenue. M and D Sutherland also submitted 2, and those are the applicants. And Bertha Declue from Urban Options, who was the applicant's agent, also submitted a piece of correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now thank you to Councillor Carlson for waiting, and if you want to go ahead, please.
Just a question. I'm wondering, when did this get subdivision from 1 lot to 2 lots?
So through the chair, Madam Mayor, the land has not been subdivided yet. They're in process of being subdivided. One of the conditions of the preliminary layout approval for the subdivision would be the variance to be approved by council. So should council not support the variance, the building can still be built. It would just have to fall within the setback requirements on the parcel.
Just follow up then. Does that remain as RC1 if it gets subdivided? And would it remain RC1 if it wasn't subdivided and they still built another house? I'm just wondering.
Correct.
Okay.
The intention is to subdivide to allow them to create a single family home on that new parcel. They couldn't create 2 single family homes on the parcel without going through a rezoning application. So as I mentioned, one of the earlier considerations in their discussions with the neighbor was to put a 2nd story addition onto the property into that rear yard setback. But the intention is to subdivide and create the new parcel for a new single family home.
Thank you. Councillor Van Elfen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question through to our CAO, if I may. If it was turned down this evening at the council meeting and you said that they could still go ahead and build this unit to the proper rear yard setback, can that entire home footprint be moved forward on that lot?
Yeah, I just, through Chair, Madam Mayor, I'll put up on the screen just an illustration of the setbacks there we go. You can see up on the screen in green is the setback requirements under the zoning bylaw should the land be subdivided. You can see where the building footprint is. That shows a footprint of approximately 194 square meters with a compliant 7.5 meter rear yard setback. The building could certainly be moved further forward. If it was further forward than 6 meters, it would trigger another variance, and that would have to come back to council.
Thank you.
Councillor Barkwell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm looking through the rationale, and I don't see any reason why the developer has presented that we should give this variance. The only reason seems to be implicitly that he wants to build something that doesn't conform. There's no topographical reasons, no issues like we normally deal with, you know, a little corner that's found to be out, or hillsides that make it difficult to develop, or an oddly shaped lot. Is there any reason other than this is what he wants to do? That he wants to build a non-conforming, that we should not require him to stay to our existing bylaws?
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor. I think at the end of the day, the intention is to build a larger home on this eventual single family parcel. A single family home could be built, but it's obviously, its footprint would be smaller. So at the end of the day, the intention is to increase the size of the footprint to allow a larger single family home on the parcel that is proposed to be created. You are correct.
So the only reason is he wants a larger home than the zoning permits.
Correct. The land is flat. The parcel is not a perfect rectangle. It does angle off further to the east, so it's not a typically it's not a typical parcel. So as part of the rationale, I guess, for their application also suggests that the irregular shape of the parcel may trigger the need for the variance, but ultimately the land is flat and there is a buildable parcel, a buildable envelope, I guess, on the land within the setbacks, and it will ultimately end up in a smaller footprint.
Sorry, but I couldn't hear any of that. Somehow we lost connection.
Sorry, so I'll repeat that, Madam Mayor. So you can see up on the, I'll maybe put the screen back up just to show the subject parcel as I'm speaking to that. The eastern half of the parcel, which is the proposed new single family lot, is not a perfect rectangle. And the point I was trying to make there is that there are some limitations, but it doesn't preclude the construction of a single family home if the variance is not supported by council. It would only result in a smaller footprint than what the applicant is intending to propose.
Councillor Barkwell, do you have any more? I can't see you on the screen. So
Yeah, sorry.
there we
No,
go.
I don't have any. I'm thinking about it and I'll wait for further discussion.
Okay, Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Patton, questions of our CAO.
Yeah, thank you. Just picking up what Councillor Carlson was saying earlier, isn't it normal that you would subdivide property first, and then once that property is subdivided, you would apply for any variance for something you might want to build, and following on to that, like, so what assurance do we have that after subdivision occurs that they're going to build what they say they're going to build?
Yeah, through the chair, Your Worship. So typically you would see the land subdivided, then they would come back with a proposal for a single family home. I guess the applicant's probably looking at all their options right now. If a variance is supported and allows them to construct a larger single family home, that may push them to move forward with the new single family lot. If it's denied, then they may look at a larger addition on the back of the property and not subdivide. So you are correct. Typically they would subdivide and then come in with a single family home, but we do see applications come forward with a variance request first to allow a reduced setback or a larger parcel coverage on a lot that is yet to be created. This variance is registered on the land title as well. So the plans attached to the approval are what the variance relates to. So the applicant couldn't in the future use this variance and build something else. So the plans are fairly detailed in terms of what's being proposed and in terms of what council are actually considering as part of this variance request.
Councillor Patton, and then Councillor Trader.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To our CAO, please. I noticed that they are allowed to have a 40% lot coverage in regards to the house. Now, if this variance was to be approved with reduced setback on the rear, by the overlays that you've showed us, do you have numbers from urban, I think from Mr. Clue, in regards to lot coverage? Because it seems like it's an awful large house on a very small lot, and I'm just wondering in regards to the 40%.
Yeah, so through the chair, your worship, there's no variance triggered with the lot coverage that's in front of us. The eventual building permit that would come in, should council support this rear yard setback, we'd have to do a check. There's nothing, I guess, nothing guaranteeing the scale of the building as part of this variance application. What we're dealing with is that rear yard setback based on I guess, the plans that are in front of us. Based on the analysis that staff have completed so far, there's no increase to the 40% that the zone allows for. If in the future the building footprint was increased, we'd have to come back to council for that variance request.
Thank you.
Councillor Trainer, and then Barkwell.
Councillor Patton asked my question, so I'm good.
Thank you. Councillor Barkwell?
Yeah, no, I don't, okay, I guess it's more of a statement than a question, so I'll hold off, and I may disappear for a moment while I look for my glasses.
Any other questions? I just have one, and it's related to the question that Councillor Van Elfen had. If the whole project were to be moved forward, it would move it northward away from the, I guess, close proximity to the neighbors that live to the south. Is that correct? Is that what you were thinking, Councillor Van Elfen? Okay.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, good, thank you. If there are no other questions, could I have someone bring forward a recommendation? There are two of them there, so yeah, so let's do them individually because they're quite different, one from the other. Councillor Holmes, and I'll ask you to read it into the record, please. Please unmute yourself. Thank you.
I may have to read that all over again. The development variance permit DVP 20-004 at 772 Higgin Avenue, Lot 6, District 673, Osoyoos Division, Yale District Plan 26226 to vary the minimum rear setback requirements prescribed in Section 10.16A2 of Zoning Bylaw 2000-450 from 7.5 meters to 5.5 meters be denied.
Thank you. Sorry, I was looking at the former request for decision. So there is only one resolution before us tonight on the development variance permit. So my apologies there. Okay, so that is a motion. Oh, Karen?
Can I just confirm the motion was that it be denied?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Barkwell? Okay, thank you. So on to discussion. Councillor Barkwell, you wanted to speak to this?
Yeah, I'll say two things. I just don't, it doesn't fit with why we have previously dealt with variances. It's been to accommodate a difficult situation, and here the only difficulty is that he wants to make an exception to the rules of that the rest of the people in the area who may want to subdivide as well in the future are going to have to live with. And secondly, I've mentioned this to our CAO, and a couple of other councillors brought it up. Not entirely comfortable with the fact that the variance proposal is written for one legal lot, and when it is actually subdivided, if it's carried through, there'll be a new legal description, and it's not for that lot, it'll be for a different lot, and regardless of what other plans are attached to that variance, it's the variance as written is for the existing lot, not a new legal lot with a new PID. So that makes me uncomfortable as well. I think that a potential subdivider should get their subdivision and then come forward if they need a subdivision, a variance.
Thank you. Councillor Van Elfen, you had your hand up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just think there's other options here. And I think by moving this complete project to the north, it would not put any undue stress to the neighbors to the south who have written us a letter in concern. I guess, as our CEO says, it will trigger another variance, but at least, it may be more acceptable to the neighborhood, but there is other options. And so that's why I can't vote to accept this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Van Elfen. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Barkwell. I think it's a flat lot. I think it'd be great to see this subdivided and a new lot created there. But it's really hard to see when you look at our other variances. It's because the house couldn't go here, so because of topography, so that's why they had to go there. I don't see that in this case at all. I think either they need a larger lot or a smaller house, and and if everybody wanted to do this, then what's the point of having the bylaw? So.
Thank you. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to agree with my colleagues. I am totally for pro-development, but in that development, it has to be responsible. And I think that this is just an overbuild on the lot, and I think that there is ample opportunity to create a structure on that lot that does conform to our bylaws. So I won't be supporting this one. Thank you.
So you will be supporting denial, is
Yes,
what you're
ma'am.
saying, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to comment on this before I call the question? I also don't think that it doesn't at all fit into the kind of forming character of the entire neighborhood. I have concerns as well about trying to fit a larger house than actually fits on that lot in terms of still follow the set. I will be voting in favor of denying this development variance permit. Anybody else? Okay, I will call the question then. All in favor of denying the development variance permit? Any opposed? I don't see any hands, so that is carried unanimously to deny. Thank you. Okay, so on to item 8.4. Sorry, I just have to find it again here. (8.4) Development Variance Permit DVP 20-005 at 14408 Heron Road. Thank you, CAO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This application is to consider an application for development variance to reduce the minimum front yard and interior side yard setbacks to legitimize recently constructed single-family dwelling at 14408 Heron Road. The official community plan for the subject property is within an approved neighborhood plan, and the current zoning for the property is RS1D, residential medium lot. The application in front of council proposes to legitimize the location of the existing single-family dwelling by requesting a reduction to the minimum front yard setback from 6 meters to 5.85 meters, and the minimum side yard setback from 1.5 meters to 1.45 meters prescribed in section 10 of the zoning bylaw. The approved building plans for the subject property complied with the setback requirements when approved a year or so back. However, in January 2020, the district requested that the owners submit an updated site survey due to the noted alterations on the building plans. The survey demonstrated that the house constructed deviated slightly from the approved plans and encroached into the minimum setback requirements. As a result, the application for variance is in front of council for consideration. The reduced setbacks on the residential property are, in staff's opinion, considered to be minor. And you can see up on the screen highlighted in red the locations where those two variances exist. And this is a closer view of the side yard setback. So given that the setbacks are, again, relatively minor, a 0.05 of a meter for the side yard setback, and very similar variance for the front yard, staff are recommending that the application be supported, and I'll open the floor to any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you. So 6 inches and 2 inches.
Correct. So
That's how. Okay.
Yes, correct. So yes.
Showing my age here. All right. Question. Okay, no questions. Could I have someone bring forward the motion, please? Councillor Patton?
I have a question, Madam Mayor, if I may. It looks like the existing house foundation. Do we know, our CAO, if at time of foundation or putting in foundation that a survey certificate or a survey was requested, which in that case before it got poured, this may have been, we wouldn't be sitting here looking at 2 inches. So do we know or did we wait until after the foundation was already in, of course, and then we asked for it?
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor, you're correct. The survey wasn't requested at the foundation point. That's certainly the process moving forward to deal with any of these issues.
Excellent. Thank you so much. If I may, Madam Mayor?
Yes,
If there's no more questions, I'll bring it forward.
please. And if you could read it, please.
Absolutely. I just have
Thank
to
you.
find. The development variance permit DVP 20-005 to reduce the following minimum setbacks prescribed in zoning bylaw 2000-450 for a single detached house at 14408 Heron Road, legally described as Lot 6, District Lot 2890, ODYD, Plan EPP 3229 be approved. A, to reduce the minimum front setback from 6 meters to 5.85 meters. And B, to reduce the minimum side yard setback interior from 1.5 meters to 1.45 meters.
Thank you, Councillor Patton. Seconded by Councillor Carlson. Any further discussion on this? Okay, I will call the question then. All in favor? Any opposed? Councillor Carlson, I'm not sure if you're there. If you are opposed, could you please just shout out? There you are. I wasn't able to see your hand, Councillor Carlson. Could you just let us
Sorry,
know?
I was looking on my agenda, and it's interesting that you can't, if I click off of the screen, you can't see me. I didn't realize that. I'm in favor.
So you're good. Great, thank you so much. Okay, so that is approved unanimously, and we are on to 8.5. 8.5, another development variance report, DVP 20-006 for 8323 Purvis Road. Again, our CAO.
And Madam Mayor, I'll hand you over to Chris, our Director of Works and Utilities, to present this item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to try
Thank
sharing
you.
my screen here as well. Just give me one moment. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay, so this development variance permit is for, as you said, 8323 Purvis Road. It's looking to vary 3 sections within the subdivision and development servicing bylaw. Those are listed here just to highlight the key points of those. The first one is looking to vary the reconstruction of Purvis Road to the center line along the frontage of the property. The second one is to look at varying the installation of sidewalk along the frontage. And the third one is to look at varying the conversion of the existing overhead electrical service to underground. So within the subdivision and development servicing bylaw, 3.10 and 3.14 are the sections that apply here. 3.10 talks about subdivision of a parcel, requires the development up to look at the highway improvements up to the center line of the highway. And then 3.14 lists the exemptions and where a 1 to 2 lot subdivision may be exempt from that. But in order to be exempt, according to the bylaw, all 5 of these conditions need to be met. And one of those talks about if the subdivision is within 75 meters of an area where equivalent level of works is constructed, then it shouldn't be exempt. And that comes into case here with the sidewalk, as it is adjacent to, there's existing sidewalk just adjacent to this new parcel. So looking at the first one, as we talked about, it's a reconstruction of Purvis Road to center line to meet the local standard servicing width of the road. So there will be some widening as well as the installation of the sidewalk on this frontage. This shows the extent of the improvements that would be required with this. So on the drawing here in hatched or shown in shaded is the asphalt removal and replacement that would be required. The red hatch shows the widening as well as the sidewalk that would be extended along the frontage and the driveway that would tie in the parcel. So this roadway was paved back when the sanitary sewer was installed approximately 22 years ago. It is in relatively good condition, but it is still nearing the end of its service life. Asphalt would typically be somewhere between 20 to 30 years life, depending on the weather conditions and the winter maintenance that's required on it. And then the next one is with the sidewalk extension. So again, that's a requirement of the based on the local residential road cross section standard, and also in alignment with our sidewalk master plan. As there are a number of areas within Summerland that do not have sidewalk currently, and according to the master plan, we're not looking to extend sidewalks into those areas in the future. That's why that plan is created and part of the bylaw. And in this case, this is a road where sidewalk has been identified for the future and why we're asking for it for this subdivision. This is just a section from the sidewalk master plan that references Purvis Road and shows the extension of that future sidewalk through this area. The third one was looking at the variance from taking the overhead electrical service and bringing that underground. So this is just a table from the SDS bylaw, which shows for RSD 1I, and the wiring that's required, that it should be underground for these parcels. So that's just to show that reference there. So bringing these underground would eliminate the need for power poles and would reduce the costs and the hazards in the future. There's an existing overhead service to the existing house there, so the intent would be to bring that existing service underground, and the new service to the new property would be underground as well. And this is just a figure from the design drawings that were included in the council agenda showing the extent of the underground and electrical works. So with that, if there are any questions from council, I'll be happy to answer them.
You need to unmute.
Pardon me, thank you. Councillor Holmes, I saw your hand first, and then followed by Councillor Barkwell.
Thank you. Could you just clarify what it means that Telus and Shaw also require underground, and so so if we allowed that variance, what would that mean for Telus and Shaw?
If they were to stay overhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the existing services to the existing house are already overhead. So then the new services, they would have to come off that existing pole in front of the neighboring lot, and potentially would need to put in a new service pole on the new lot in order to pull the services over into the new parcel. So there is a pole just on the northwest corner of the parcel now. And so the new lot being to the east, you would have to extend those to that frontage and potentially have a service pole installed.
But Shaw and Telus would be okay with that.
They may be, but yeah, when we look to bring something underground, we look to bring all of the shallow utilities, whether it's telecommunications or electrical, to underground.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Barkwell?
Yes, my question's concerning the underground services again. Did I hear correctly that this is an RSD1 lot? Or RSD1I?
I believe it's an RSD1I, but maybe Anthony can clarify that for me.
Yeah, sorry, through the chair, Madam Mayor. So I've got, just looking at our zoning designation check, we do have a residential medium lot, RSD1.
Okay. And the chart that was up there, table C.2.2, had some columns and rows highlighted. And I think he said he had looked at the RSD1I row, when I guess it's the RSD1 row that's applicable. Does that change anything? Could we bring that one up again?
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. You're correct. It doesn't change anything for this though. And I'll just plop that up here.
They both really quiet. Okay.
Yeah, so it's the row above here, which is underground as well.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a question of our Director of Works and Utilities? Councillor Carlson.
My question is about the paving and the quality of the road. You suggested that it's a 20-year road, and the picture shows it's still in quite decent condition. I'm just wondering, is it common practice that we would expect it to be done sort of piece by piece as things get subdivided and changed over the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years, that the road will get upgraded? Or is that money that would be better put towards an asset management fund or some sort of, I'm just wondering if there's an alternative to changing the road right now, or if that's the only option.
Yeah, I guess typically that's when it is definitely patchwork repaving that happens with subdivisions like this. And sometimes those roads wouldn't be repaved by the district for a number of years. So improving as we can and as we go is definitely something we should be taking advantage of. As far as taking the money as cash in lieu, it would have to be applied in the future to this road when this road is repaved. And my understanding is it would have to be held in a separate fund on our end so that it wasn't spent on anything other than this road.
Which is really difficult. Or if Dave was here, he'd tell us that doesn't always work.
It can be, yeah. That's what we've heard in the past on similar requests.
Councillor Holmes?
Thank you. Yeah, just to follow up on that, is that our bylaw or is that provincial law that says we can't take the money and put it in a fund?
I believe it's I believe it's legislation where we're taking cash in lieu, that it needs to be then applied and spent on what it was taken for, and that it couldn't be used for a general road paving program. It would need to be specifically for Purvis Road.
And that'd be same for sidewalks?
If it was cash in lieu, yes.
Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you, to our Director of Operations, if you were saying that in regards to the electrical, that the existing home would have to go underground also? My question is if they were to go underground, where would the right-of-way, if there's an existing pole there, or would there be a new pole having to be set? And where would that right-of-way be? Because it's underground services, so there'd have to be a right-of-way somewhere for access to the power. Or can we look at underground to the new lot and leave the existing home with overhead power?
So I guess I'll just quickly pull up the screen again here, just to show the servicing plan. So this drawing here shows the existing pole that's in place, the existing power pole, and the underground services that would come to a common vault for the two properties or the two lots, and then something. So the right-of-way would follow that alignment that was in the detailed design drawings that were submitted as part of this. If the reason we take them for both is because the improvements apply to the frontage of the subject property itself and not just for one of the newly created lots or the existing. So the existing could remain in place, I guess, but then you're losing the ability to get both of these services underground in the future, which is the ideal scenario moving forward. It would be something that would then have to be done in the future, and it likely wouldn't happen unless the owners wanted to undertake it themselves. It wouldn't be a requirement in the future to do that. And one issue that might come up is in the future, if the district looks at bringing the electrical system that's on the street underground, then this would be a cost, or at that time, this service would then need to likely be brought underground as well to be in accordance with the remainder of the system.
Does that answer your question? Or you have another question?
No, it does. I just in my head, I'm just the it seems pretty onerous on an already finished lot to terminate the mast, terminate the overhead power, change the meter box, bring the power in, down, and then out. And it just seems to me that on the new construction, absolutely, I totally agree that underground is very, very doable. I just think it's onerous and very expensive for the owner of the existing property to do the service upgrade. Where I'm sure, and maybe our director of operations he has an indication of when he feels that the upgrade of that electrical to go underground, if there is a 30, 40-year in regards to do that.
No, sorry, I don't have an indication of when this electrical system on Purvis Road may go underground.
Thanks. Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Any other questions of Mr. Johnson? All right, so we have 3 resolutions before us. What's the wish of council? Do you want to look at each of them individually? Yes, okay. Councillor Bark, will you be willing to bring forward a first resolution, either what's written or your flavor?
Okay, I'll bring forward the first one for consideration. Read it out loud. That development variance permit development DVP 20-006 at 8323 Purves Road, legally described as Lot 2, DL 473 ODYD Plan 12298, to vary the following off-site improvement requirements prescribed in Section 3.10 or 3.10 servicing requirements and 6.02 highways and walkways of subdivision and development servicing bylaw number 99-004 to eliminate the requirement to reconstruct Purves Road to center line along the frontage of the subject property be denied.
Councillor Holmes has seconded that. Is there further discussion on this? So we're looking at just the first resolution. Councillor Barkwell?
Just a comment that these sort of ones I always struggle with, because they add to the cost of homes. And although they increase the standard that we enjoy, you know, somebody has to pay for it. And that's all just a little bit more about why housing is so unaffordable these days. I think in the end, it's worthwhile doing.
Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, you know, I understand in the totality of what's being asked is I agree, it's onerous. People must wonder why would I subdivide a property if I have to do all this? I mean, so I don't know the best way to encourage these subdivisions, because I think we want to encourage these kind of subdivisions. I think we need to have a larger discussion on how we can do that, because I understand why these are in place, the regulations, and so I'll be supporting the motion. But I think we need to look at the bigger picture at some point and talk about how do we encourage these single lot subdivisions, because this isn't the way to do it.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes. I apologize, Mr. Johnson, I have a question, and I should have asked this before. My question is, as part of servicing the new lot, there'll have to be a tie into the sewer. Will that come across in that portion of the road that we're talking about. I'm not sure what side the road the sewer is on or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. So I will quickly just share the screen again here just to show on the east side of the shaded area that's shown here. There's this additional removal of asphalt that crosses the opposite side of the roadway. That is to connect the underground services.
Okay. So it's on the opposite side of the proposed lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Opposite side of the road.
I don't know offhand if it's the water or the sewer. I believe the water is on the opposite side and the sewer is near center. So it would be to connect the water service as well as the sewer, because tying into the line, if it's in the center of the road, would require you to go some distance beyond center line, typically to make that tie in due to the depth and the excavation that's required. So,
and while I have you on this slide, if I could just verify that the area that's kind of in pink and it's cross-hatched, is that the bringing that segment of the road up to the existing grade of the road? It kind of looks like it's collecting water and it's a bit of a slope towards the lot.
I think that's, yeah, it's just to get the to widen the roadway to the standard width, so that if and when this is extended and the improvements continue to the east, that this is at the full width, as well as the right of the dedication that's required for the subdivision on the front of this property for the road right of way as well.
And then the piece of the gray on the lower side of the hatched area, sorry, I'm not very good with directions, that indicates the sidewalk?
Correct. This is the sidewalk along the south.
And it covers the length of, or sorry, the width of the whole lot.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any further discussion on this? I will call the question then. Again, this DVP is, Councillor Barkle brought forward this DVP for denial. So all in favor? Opposed? Just a sec, Councillor Traynor. Councillor Traynor, I didn't catch how you voted.
I voted with you in favor.
In favor, and Councillors Patton and Carlson are opposed. Was there anyone else that was opposed? Okay, so the denial is carried then. Now on to the second portion of the staff recommendation, the second part of this development variance permit. Could somebody bring that forward if there are no other questions? Councillor Carlson, thank you.
I do have a question to Mr. Johnson. I was reading the applicant's letter, and it's noted that the sidewalk master plan at time of application, the current one we have in 2020, was not in place at the time of application. Can you speak to that, please, and whether or not when this application was made, Purvis Road was part of the sidewalk plan? And whether
That's correct. It wasn't part of the previous master plan, but it is part of the updated one. That being said, the previous master plan was a number of years outdated, and staff was struggling to identify where we should and shouldn't be requiring sidewalks. And in a lot of cases, we were wanting to update that sidewalk master plan to ensure that we weren't recommending installation of sidewalks where it didn't make sense to in the future. One area especially being down in Trout Creek, to identify what corridors and what roadways we should be focusing on and which ones should be left without. But in that update, this was one section that is now included in that sidewalk master plan.
So to follow that then, if the developer of this lot is to build a piece of sidewalk, how will the rest of that sidewalk plan come to be? Will it be through development, or is it something the district will be doing in the next 20 years?
So if there are any subdivisions along Pervez Road extending that are on the south side, they would be required, as this one was through the SDS bylaw, to install that. It is identified in the, I believe it's the long-term plan. So it is in the sidewalk master plan, but it would be in the 10 to 20 year range. It's not an immediate priority, but it is identified in there as a future project that should be considered.
Okay, thank you.
If I might just follow up on Councillor Carlson's second question about the sidewalk and when it might be extended beyond what we're discussing tonight. When it gets extended, if we're looking at it as a district initiative, say it's 10 or 15 or 20 years out, then that will be, the cost of that is borne by all taxpayers, correct? Whereas with the subdivision, if the sidewalk goes in as part of this development, then at least that portion is borne by the developer rather than all of the taxpayers. Is that, am I correct in understanding that?
Yes, that's correct. Any larger capital project would be funded through likely through reserves that were obtained through taxation or through other purposes, and not for this developer that's developing. That's the importance of trying to, why staff recommend that we obtain these improvements when we can. If it's not borne by the developer, then it will ultimately be borne by the taxpayers.
Okay. Thank you. Any further? Oh, Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, and you said there's already a piece of sidewalks of the adjoining property?
That's correct. Up to the west side of this existing lot, there's existing sidewalk. So it would be tying into that and extending it across the frontage.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, so seeing no other hands raised, I will ask if someone could bring this second resolution forward. Anyone?
I will, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Patton.
The development variance permit DVP 20-006 at 8323 Purves Road, legally described as Lot 2DL 473, ODYD Plan 12298, to vary the following offsite improvement requirements prescribed in Section 3.10, servicing requirements at subdivision, and 6.03, sidewalks, curb, and gutters of subdivision, and development servicing bylaw number 99-004 to eliminate the requirement to install sidewalk along the frontage of the subject property be denied.
Seconded by Councillor Carlson. Further discussion, Councillor Bark?
I was speaking in favor of the motion, although probably isn't necessary. But you know, with the sidewalk right there next to it, it does seem like a very logical extension. And I can see that this area being in the future becoming RSD1I, which would, you know, initiate further subdivision. That further development is entirely possible. And who knows, in the next 30 years, perhaps it could be apartments in that area. And in my lifetime, it's already gone from orchard to older homes. So it's reasonably foreseeable to see the sidewalk necessary.
Thank you, Councillor Barkwill. Anything further? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. And then on to the third recommendation that's there. Any further questions of our staff on that, or the staff, Anthony's staff? Or Anthony? All right, could I have somebody bring that one forward, please? Councillor Barkwell, thank you.
That development variance permit DVP 20-06 at 8323 Purves Road, legally described as Lot 2, DL 473, ODYD Plan 12298, to vary the following off-site improvement requirements prescribed in Section 3.10, servicing requirements at subdivision, and 6.12, electrical and communication wiring and gas distribution of subdivision and development servicing bylaw number 99-004 to eliminate the requirement to convert the existing above ground electrical service to underground be denied. And that was pretty good without my glasses. Never did find them.
Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Councillor Carlson, you were seconding that? Okay, thank you. Any further questions on this one? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I really don't see, because of a new build going to happen on the subdivided lot, to go underground there. I totally agree with that, but to convert the existing house to go to underground when we don't even have a plan in place or a time plan in regards to how this is going to move forward to put all the services underground there. I don't see the benefit for the I don't see the benefit for us, for one thing, because we don't have a plan. And just because this gives us the opportunity at a subdivision to say, guess what, Mr. Homeowner, now you're going to have to take care of this property and this property because it's a two-lot split. I'm having a really hard time agreeing with this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Patton. I see Councillor Barkwell and Councillor Carlson.
Yes, it just seems like if anything that's going to add value for the least amount of expense, that this is one thing that, well, they're going to have the road dug up, they'll be putting in the distribution boxes for the services and stuff. I think that this underground servicing of the house at this time is real value and can be done for a minimal amount. So I'll be in favor of denial here.
Thank you. Councillor Carlson.
Now I'm not sure. Councillor Patton had me convinced for a moment there, but now if the road is dug up, so I don't know. I know that on my home, when we renovated, we put in a new electrical service. But if we hadn't put a new electrical service, it would have been quite expensive to put all of the services underground. So I had a question about it, but I forget what that question is. I'm going to contemplate. Thank you.
I can come back to you, Councillor Carlson. In the meantime, I'll go to Councillor Van Alphen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I have to concur with Councillor Patton. Road tore up or not, it's still going to incur some, large expenses for the original homeowner. You got to decommission the masts. Now you repair your roof. Bring in the new service. Come underground. There's a lot of work. Does the cables have to go? You have to remove drywall. Who knows what you're going to have to do with the interior? I think it's just an added cost at this time. That's not lot. Absolutely, it makes nothing but sense. But to to, you know, put all the expenses on these new subdivisions. Here's an opportunity. I don't think we need to incur this expense. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Van Alphen. Back to Councillor Carlson.
I remember now. It's a question to Mr. Johnson. So the road shows that it would be dug up to put in the underground for the new development. I'm just wondering, in that situation, would putting the conduits in for the existing home while that road is dug up, whether or not it gets the service at that time or not, would that be an option to put the infrastructure, the pipe under the ground or not?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. In order to service the newly created lot, we would have the services would have to come off of the pole to a junction box on the front of the existing property. So that work would still need to happen, and the services be pulled to the new lot from those boxes. But those vaults could just be stubbed out to the existing property and remain in place if and when that lot ultimately wants to convert its overhead service to underground. So the front of that property would be disturbed within the new road dedication that's required. But it could be limited to just that and stubbed out of the vault for future time.
And they wouldn't have to dig up the road again when they put the underground in.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Barkwell, and then Holmes.
Just to follow up a question, you said you wouldn't have to dig up the road again to access the vault if they went to underground services for the existing house. Is that vault like on the surface, or is it off the paved area, or where's the vault that you wouldn't dig it up? Or what does it look like?
Here, I will just. So on the drawing on the screen, these three square structures are the vaults that would be installed. So the service would have to be off of the existing pole along the front of the existing property to the vaults, and then the stub, that conduit, the ducting that would have to be stubbed out of these vaults would have to extend beyond the limits of the sidewalk and come onto private property, just inside of private property here, that they could remain there for this existing house to ultimately tie into at some point in the future.
So to follow up on that, would the wires be going all the way through those stubs and onto the property of the existing home, or would they have to somehow get in that vault to make a connection with the wires and such?
Yeah, in the future, the wiring would have to be done, but these vaults would be a cabinet with a hatch that's to surface, and they would be accessible, and the services would only be approximately 4 feet deep. So it would be accessible in the future to do the wiring, but you would install the conduit to a point where it wouldn't require the sidewalk or the road right away to be disturbed at all.
But you would still have to access the vault, right?
Through a hatch. That's
through a hatch, and that hatch
yeah.
isn't paved over or anything.
Correct.
I see. Okay. I don't think I've pictured one of those before, but that sounds good.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Councillor, oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Holmes, you had your hand up, and then Councillor Patton.
Well, that sounds like the best option, and give the homeowner the choice if they want to, if and when they want to hook up the old house. But if we didn't pass this motion and approved it, what would that accommodate for that, or would it have to be a completely different kind of motion requiring that put in? Or we can come to that later if we have to.
All right. Okay. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Actually, I concur with Councillor Holmes, and I was just wondering also, would we have to add a another resolution that the homeowner could tie into the vault at a later time.
So Karen, I'm going to ask for your guidance here. My thought is that we would, because this motion is on the floor, we probably should vote on it. And if we don't like the fact that it shows denial, let's see.
If
We
I'm-
would vote against. Yes, please go ahead.
So,
I'm trying to
Madam
think
Mayor,
on my feet.
Yeah, the motion in front of you is with regards to putting in those, the ground electrical service. The choice on whether to connect or not is up to the homeowner. So it's not really a decision of council. That would be my understanding. What we're saying here is that they are required to put that vault in and to have those services underground. And I believe that's the motion in front of you.
Right. So maybe the question, I could ask this of Chris then. So as the resolution is written, when it reads to eliminate the requirement to convert the existing above ground electrical service, does the conversion mean the whole thing including connection, or does it just mean you know, what we've been talking about, that it could be done at another time?
Yeah, so this speaks to just the existing service. So the new service for the new lot would need to be underground. So if this variance was approved, then the existing overhead service to the existing property could stay and not be required to be part of the works. I think what you're wanting though is to ensure that any works that are done to service that new property accommodate for the future servicing of the existing parcel underground. And if if this variance is approved, then it would be up to the owner and their engineer to service that new lot how they wish, and it may not include accommodation for this. It would only make sense to do so, but yeah, this resolution speaks solely to the existing service to the existing parcel.
Okay. Councillor Holmes, did you have more on this?
So what do we do to, if we want to make sure that a vault is put in there for a future hookup of the house? I'm a bit confused. So if that's what I want, them to do the work to put the vault in so it can be connected to the future but they don't have to do it now. I don't know whether to vote for or against the motion that's on the table.
Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. So, Anthony, thank you.
Yeah, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. I think if council end up supporting the variance, then the existing home does not require the electrical service to be underground. That's correct?
Yeah.
So then if the applicant in the future wants to install any infrastructure that would future-proof the eventual undergrounding of that infrastructure, that will be on at their cost in the future and not subject to this variance. So I think what's in front of council now is to either approve or deny the requirement for the underground. How it gets future-proofed in the future, I guess, for an eventual undergrounding would be something that the applicant would have to consider. And I don't think council can make that decision, Chris, at this stage.
So Anthony, then to clarify what we want to do, given what Councillor Patton and Councillor Holmes have just said, would be to, let's see, denial is on the floor. We would vote against this. So this was defeated, correct?
So council would need to approve the variance. So I guess defeat the motion in front of you, motion number C, so letter C. that third part of this recommendation. So
But-
defeat that. And then I believe, Karen, bring forward a motion to support the variance application.
Correct.
Okay, so we want to defeat this and then bring forward another resolution. Correct?
Correct, if that's the wish of council.
Okay. Is that clearer for you as well now, Councillor Holmes? Clear as mud, as they say. All right, Councillor Carlson.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more to that. So they're going to subdivide this property. Is there no way that council can say, well, you can subdivide this property and we're going to give you this variance. However, you need to ensure that this is in place so that the current home can change their service at a later date. It's like that's not what the next. That's not an option. Council cannot do that. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, through the chair, but it's again that'd be a design standard. I think, Chris, that whether or not that's in our bylaw, I'm not too sure. If there's some direction from council, I guess, to investigate that, we can certainly work with the owner on seeing how that could be future-proofed, I guess, through the next step in the design. Chris, is that correct?
Yeah, my thoughts are that the requirement to service this underground sounds like ultimately what council is wishing, but that actual connection and decommissioning of the existing service and tying into this could happen or wish to happen at a later date. So my thoughts are that the variance to eliminate the requirement to convert it from overhead to underground be denied, but allow the property owner to decommission their existing service and connect to the new service at a future date. Maybe in addition to this resolution that could be added to ensure that the underground infrastructure is put in place, but the actual termination and connection can happen when the existing property owner wishes.
Councillor Carlson, did you have a follow-up to that?
Just that's what I would like to see happen if it's possible.
Okay, then I saw Councillor Barkle's hand, followed by Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, I don't see why, if we could come up with the proper wording, where we couldn't introduce another application. Maybe it has to be formal, I don't know, but if we turn down this one and then ask staff to come back with a new resolution that has what obviously is the intention of council without actually saying it in so many words. I mean, that has to be possible. I just don't know whether we do it this week or wait till the next meeting. Perhaps staff would be more comfortable if they had time to work on exactly what the variance permit should look like.
Thank you, Councillor Barkle. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, if staff would want more time, I'm okay with that. But I think Mr. Johnson just said it perfectly. I think we just amend, we just bring an amendment to the existing motion as it written, but as Mr. Johnson has said, but allow the property owner to decommission the existing service and connect to the underground service at a future date. And just put that as an amendment to the existing motion that's on the table, and then we're in business. So if that would work for everybody, I'd bring that amendment forward.
Councillor Barkle, and then I'll go to you, Karen.
Councillor Holmes, I mean, the idea is there, but you left out the important part. The important part is that the infrastructure be installed that would allow the homeowner to do this at a future date without having to tear up the road and such. That that all of this necessary, and I couldn't describe it exactly, but the the ducting to the edge of the, inside the property line a foot or two, and the sort of work be done at this time, and simply not require the actual installation of the wires and such.
Corporate officer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the amendment that Councillor Holmes has brought forward is that and that the property owner at 8323 Purves Road be allowed to terminate and connect at a future date.
Okay, Councillor Holmes?
I'd be happy to hear what the CAO and the Director of Works would prefer. If they would prefer to go back and draft something and bring it back to us next time, then I'm good with that. Or if that's wording works for them, then let's move forward on it.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just more for Chris, does that give you the direction, I guess, from a design perspective to go back to the property owner and see if it can make it work?
Yeah, I think so. I was just thinking you could maybe even clarify it one step further to say that for the existing property, so that the variance request be denied within the road right of way fronting the existing parcel, but the on-site work or the on-site future work to disconnect and reconnect be excluded from this variance, or be a part of the variance. That's really the only piece of this that we're including. So it might be easier to eliminate this. It gives me enough to go on. I just don't know if it's going to be clear enough, if it could be misinterpreted by the property owner or their engineer. We understand the intent of it, but really it's allowing the existing service, the work on the property itself, to be varied. The work that's required to put this overhead service to underground within the road right of way isn't going to be varied and is required. So I don't know if the difference between the right of way and on private property needs to be part of this resolution to make it clear to anyone in the future.
Councillor Holmes?
So maybe it's best we defer it and ask council to come back with wording for next meeting or something like that.
Is that the best option, corporate officer, or should we vote on what's on the floor, currently on the floor, and then defer the new resolution until we've heard back from staff?
Madam Mayor, I'm just looking at the DVP we've approved. There's actually 3 parts to one DVP. So we've approved the first and second. The third one is the one that we're unsure about. But I'm just trying to talk it through as to whether we would need to have a different DVP. We could defer. I think the motion could be to defer the third development variance permit DVP 2006 for this particular section until a further date. We could do that. We could vote on this and then direct staff to come back with a resolution at a future date.
With that resolution already being on the floor, we're obligated to carry on with this particular one? Okay.
Correct.
So let's deal with that first then. And it's been brought forward. Such a long time ago. Was it first brought forward to eliminate the requirement. It was first brought forward to be approved. I can't remember I don't even remember who brought it forward at this point.
It was brought forward by Councillor Barkwell and Councillor Carlson.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was to be denied.
To be denied. So we want to defeat that so that we can get another resolution before us at a later date.
If that's the wish of council, yes.
Okay. Councillor Holmes?
Well, my leaning is that we approve the denial and then direct staff to come back with an alternative motion for the next meeting based on our conversation that we've just had. That seemed to me the cleanest way to do it.
Yes. Councillor Barkwell?
Yeah, I concur.
Okay. So I just want to check on Councillor Traynor. She's on my other screen. Councillor Traynor, you're all good? Okay. All right. So enough discussion on this, I guess. I don't see any hands raised, so I will call the question. All in favor of Part C being denied? Any opposed? None. So that is carried. Now, Councillor Holmes, I ask one of you to bring forward direction to staff, please. Or do we even need to do that? Karen, do we need to do that?
Madam Mayor, it's really, I think staff has an understanding of what the requirement is. I'm not, so I'm trying to think of where the decision making would be in directing the works, really is what we're talking about, not so much the private property. And the works is going to be done by the developer. So Anthony, I'm just trying to understand whether or not this is even something that's within council's authority. Or is it more of just an understanding for the agreement that's going to be done between the district and the developer?
Yeah, I think we've got the direction and the conversation that I think will allow us to have that discussion with the property owner. And if there's any disagreement on that, we'd certainly bring that back in front of council if there was any triggers for variances or any non-compliance with the subdivision servicing bylaw.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes, are you comfortable with that? Okay, so we are then finished this particular one, correct? So that's 8.5 then. 8.5. There it is. So on to development variance permit 8.6. Development DVP 20007 for 8900 Lindsay Street. Over to you, CO.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. This application is for a development variance permit to increase the maximum area and depth of artificial bodies of water permitted within front yards, to reduce the landscaping and screening requirements for off-street parking, and to reduce the minimum number of internal shade trees provided and maintained in parking areas at the subject property. Site is currently zoned M2 heavy industrial, and the future land use designation within the OCP is for light industrial. A couple of photographs of the site showing its condition. You can notice in the previous air photos there was an existing building on the property that has been demolished, and you can see the land is in preparation for its eventual reuse. This is a view looking west across the site. Next view looking towards the eastern portion of the site. The site, as you can see, abuts Giant's Head Park, and a view looking down Lindsay Street, looking towards the west of the property. The front of the property, as you can see within the application, which I'll speak to shortly, is the landscape buffer that's being proposed. So the application is for the redevelopment for the Ames Road Company. The proposed development includes a workshop with offices, a salt shed, a brine making system, a water service building, and stormwater retention pond to support the company's operational needs in servicing local highways. The three variances in front of council, I'll speak to them individually. The applicant plans to site a 450 cubic meter stormwater retention pond in the southeast corner of the subject property, and the southwest corner of the property, and is requesting to vary the maximum area and depth of artificial bodies of water permitted in front yards as prescribed within the zoning bylaw. The artificial bodies of water are permitted in front yards where they have an area of less than 5 square meters and a depth of less than 0.6 of a meter. In order to facilitate the construction of the stormwater retention pond and the design of the layout that's being proposed for this facility, the depth would need to be varied from 5 square meters to 318 square meters, and the area from 5 square meters to 318 square meters, and depth from 0.6 to 2 meters depth. Artificial bodies of water typically have not been permitted in front yards for aesthetic reasons. That applies to all properties within the district. In this case, the property is located within an industrial area, and the capture pond would be completely screened by a proposed 4.6 meter landscape strip along Lindsay Street. Further, the strategic placement of the pond is intended to maximize its effectiveness for stormwater management on the site. And contained within the council report was the stormwater management plan provided by Urban Systems, which provided details around the grading and the need for the pond. The second variance proposed, the second part of the variance application requests 2 additional variances related to landscaping and screening requirements. First, the applicant is requesting to vary the landscaping and screening requirements for off-street parking in industrial areas. The request is to reduce the size of the required landscape strip around the perimeter of all off-street parking and outdoor storage areas from 3 meter requirement down to 0 meters. As you can see, there's no landscaping proposed around the perimeter of the parking space. The applicant's also requesting to vary the minimum number of internal shade trees provided and maintained for parking areas servicing the development. The zoning bylaw requires a minimum ratio of 1 tree planted for every 5 parking spaces supplied. Based on the 27 parking spaces provided, that would trigger approximately 4.5 trees to be located within the parking areas. In order to offset the lack of trees within the parking area, the applicants proposed the 4.6 meter wide landscape strip along Lindsay Street, which in staff's opinion and review adequately compensates for the absence of the internal landscaping requirements. The proposal certainly supported by the OCP in terms of its policies for screening and buffering to the street, but also supports the establishment of some infill development within our industrial land within the community. The proposal certainly supports the intensification or reuse of industrial lands within the district, and staff are recommending that council support the application and the investment that will be made in this site. The landscape buffer, as I mentioned earlier in staff's review, will certainly add to enhancing the frontage of the property and allow for the operations to occur in accordance with the needs of the industrial business. The recommendation in front of council is to support all 3 variances. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Council, do you have questions? Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question through our CEO. The water retention ponds, is there any, do you know if there's any thought, are they going to use some of this water in their brine application? Do you know?
Through the chair, Madam Mayor, Councillor Van Arfelman, I'm not too sure of that answer. I don't have that answer for you.
Thank you.
Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the report from Urban, it does indicate that the pond level will be monitored, and that active maintenance includes pumping water out of the ponds into tanks where it will be used for road maintenance purposes. So yeah, it's yes. So it will be used for on site for what they need to use it for.
Thank you. Are there questions of staff related to the development variance permit? I don't see any hands raised. Again, I'll ask, what's the wish of council? Should we do this all at once, or do you want to divide the 3 recommendations out separately? All at once, thumbs up, please. Okay, all at once then. And I will ask somebody that wants to read a book here. Councillor Carlson, thank you.
I will move the development variance permit DVP 20-007 for property located at 8900 Lindsay Street, legally described as Lot 2, LD District Lot 2195, ODYD Plan EPP 98830 to vary. Number 1, the maximum area and depth of artificial bodies of water permitted in front yards prescribed in section 4.1.8A of zoning bylaw number 2000-450 from a depth of 0.6 meters and an area of 5 meters squared to a depth of 2 meters and an area of 318 meters squared be approved. Number 2, the landscaping and screening requirements prescribed in table 5.1 of zoning bylaw number 2000-450 from 3.0 meters landscape strip around the entire perimeter of all off-street parking and or outdoor storage areas to 0 meters be approved. And 3, that the minimum number of internal shade trees provided and maintained as prescribed by section 6.5.9C of zoning bylaw number 2000-450 from a ratio of 1 tree for every 5 parking spaces to 0 trees for every 5 parking spaces be approved.
Thank
So
you,
we
Councillor
unmute.
Carlson. Seconder? Councillor Patton? Councillor Van Alphen, you have a question or a discussion item? Okay.
Sure.
Any further discussion on what's in front of us now? I will call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Now on to the final one, 8.7.1. 8.7, development variance permit DVP 20-008 for 8800 Happy Valley Road. And CAO.
Hey, thank you, Madam Mayor. So this application for variance permit to the zoning bylaw is to reduce the minimum exterior side yard, facilitate the construction of an addition to the existing single-family dwelling on the subject property. The site is within the country residential zone, and the OCP designation is for future rural residential. You can see a couple of photos of the property showing the existing building. The addition proposed will be located approximately where the existing deck is, and expand from there. The proposed, or a couple of other photos, just to show you a view from the from Happy Valley Road, and then another view looking northwest from the intersection of Happy Valley Road and Steel Street. So the applicant's proposing to construct an addition to the existing single-family home. In order to accommodate the expansion, or the exterior side yard setback is being requested to be reduced by 70 centimeters from 4.5 meters to 3.8 meters. The proposed addition will replace the aging deck and increase the square footage of the master bedroom within the single-family home. The reduction to the minimum front yard and staff's review will not have an unreasonable impact on the surrounding area. The impact on form and character will certainly be enhanced with the addition to the building. The minor variance in staff's review won't have an unreasonable impact on the adjoining property or the surrounding area, and staff are recommending that council support this variance request. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we know if there's any correspondence received on this application?
There was none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions of our CAO? Okay, could I have someone bring forward the resolution, please? Councillor Holmes, thank you.
I'll move that variance permit DVP 20-008 to vary the minimum exterior side yard setback at 8800 Happy Valley Road, legally described as Lot D, District Lot 508 ODYD Plan KAP 31312 from 4.5 meters to 3.8 meters be approved.
Seconded by Councillor Van Elfen. Any further discussion? I will call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay. We did the non-development reports already. So now we're on to item 10.1, correspondence. Is there anything that people would like to bring forward from the correspondence? Not too much there today. Okay, could I have somebody bring that forward to receive for information then, please? Councillor Patton, Councillor Van Elfen, all in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. And then on to council reports. Tonight I'm going to start with Councillor Holmes. He wants to bring us up to date on the RDOS as well.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. So for the RDOS, I'll repeat some of the things that I just said on Friday because we weren't able to record that, and so you heard it already, but some of it already, but you'll hear it again. So last Thursday they had one of the discussions was regarding transit. As you know, the buses are free for passengers right now during the COVID. So that's going to, the end of May, the free fares will end. They'll still have physical distancing will be on place on all the buses. And there was some discussion around the province about, with the drop of ridership, about whether some routes would be canceled or buses would be canceled. The provincial government's apprehensive to make changes to any bus schedules because transit is seen as an essential service, and so and there's also certain contracts in place, like with Interior Health, that requires those buses to be run. So having said that, there is intention to claw back the expansion of Route 70. That's the bus between Penticton and Kelowna that stops in Summerland. They were going to add one more return trip a day starting in September. That's still up for negotiation, but BC Transit is proposing that be delayed. So Route 70, there has been a 57.85% drop in the ridership since in the past month. So what that means is there's 18 trips a day being taken on that bus. So it's still being used. The buses are still being used and what it tends to be the regulars. And so RDOS sees this as an opportunity to find out who the regular bus users really, who they actually are. And so they intend to do a survey of the, I think, I'm not sure how soon that starts, but fairly soon. They did intend to do a survey of their riders because the bus drivers know the regulars pretty well. So they see this as a good opportunity to take advantage of that. Also, on our April 16th meeting, the RDOS put forward a couple of SILGA resolutions, which, just like our resolution, was forwarded directly onto UBCM. You may remember that one resolution was put forward to ask provincial government to look at the delivering of services, local government services, education, health, transportation, all these different kind of services which happen at a local level, but are delivered by different agencies. And so a motion was put forward to identify all these different services and look at what is the best way of delivering them. UBCM came back and they were concerned that the RDS was asking for more downloading, and they kind of watered down the resolution to us to just resolve to basically a public education campaign for who does what. So the board decided that wasn't the intent of the resolution. So they're withdrawing. The board is withdrawing the resolution, and maybe look at rewording it and resubmitting it directly to the UBCM. And there were slight changes to the mayor. The resolution the mayor put forward for Indigenous peoples representation. It was just some minor changes to it. The intent was as it originally was. I don't know if Madam Mayor, if you wanted to say anything more to that, or.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Councillor Holmes. I don't even remember what the changes that they were suggesting were, but I don't even remember. But like you said, Councillor Holmes, there really wasn't much to it. The only request that I asked, and this was approved by the board, was that where the whole idea is to give the opportunity for dialogue between UBCM, First Nations, and the province to talk about whether or not they wanted to participate at the regional district tables wherever they happen to be in the province. When they sent back the resolution, they were talking about local government, and I just asked that the local government be changed to regional governments, regional districts, even though regional districts are included in that title or phrase, local government, just to make it clearer. So that was the only thing on that. So back to you, Councillor Holmes. I think you may have some more.
Yeah, and then so the only other thing from the RDOS is they're investing in this community engagement platform. It's the same platform that the city of Penticton uses. We were given a demo of what it looks like. It's pretty impressive, and member municipalities will be able to use it for specific projects if that'll be an option for us. If, for example, we want to use it for the new rec and wellness center or something like that, we can. And we'll be hearing more about that, I'm sure. And that's kind of it with the RDOS. I also have an update from the Chamber board meeting that was held April 23rd. So as most of you probably know, the Visitor Center and the Chamber offices are closed. They closed on March 11th to the public. Two staff members were laid off. Their destination marketing is kind of being refocused to promote local businesses to the residents. And they have a Summerland Strong Together campaign, which I believe started this week, probably starts this week. There was a lot of discussion at the Chamber Board meeting about the Business Excellence Awards, whether to have a gala or not. A lot of the board members felt that people, you know, they did all the interviews, so they know who all the winners are, but they haven't been making it public, hoping that they can hold a gala, because the gala is a big fundraiser for them. It brings in about $6,000 for them every year. So there was a big, well, on the other hand, there was some people were saying that maybe the business community needs a little boost right now, and announcing the winners would help, you know, boost the morale of the business community a bit. So whether they're to do some sort of online thing or wait until later to hold a gala, they didn't really resolve that. They asked the executive director to come back with some options. And I know they've been talking to you, Madame Mayor, about the Citizens Awards being held online. So they're talking about doing the same sort of thing. The Ogopogo bathtub race was canceled, as we know, and the AGM, which was originally scheduled for the last week of March, has been rescheduled for September 17th, and all the directors will remain in their positions until then. And that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I do not have anything to report. I'm just waiting patiently, as we all are, to get life back to our new normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carlson?
I don't have much to report either. I don't know if it was announced in a big way, but the BC Public Library Partners, they did a big campaign for 20 million in 2020, and they didn't get any budget increase in the provincial budget. But a couple of weeks ago, it was announced there was a $3 million one-time payment to the library system through the province, which is going directly to connectivity and online media, and just making sure that all of those resources that continue to be in high demand get the funding that they need. So the province stepped up for libraries, and the timing, the plan was in place before COVID-19 hit, but my understanding is that it's been a really helpful thing during this time to have a little bit of optimism and to actually see the importance of our library system and how much people are relying on online media right now. Because if you go to the library website, orl.bc.ca, you'll get all kinds of services and free entertainment. So it's something that we need to remember, because our libraries are closed, but there's certainly a lot of people still working and a lot of services still being offered to citizens. So that would be a little bit of some good news, I guess, about libraries. And cherry blossoms are out. Apricot blossoms are done. It's been a slow spring, but things are starting to move now. So enjoy all of it.
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. That's really interesting news about the ORL and all of the other activities that they have online that we can enjoy during these times. Councillor Van Elfen, there you are.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to announce or anything at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Traynor.
I don't have anything to report, except for I just wanted to say that the new signs on Giant's Head Mountain look really good. I've been running and biking up there several times a week, and there's new directional signs starting at the bottom and all the way to the top on all the new trails. And they look really good, but we still do need to get some restoration in progress signs up around the mountain, just to tell people where not to go, because I still see people kind of going off the trail where they think there might be an old trail. But otherwise, yeah, the signs look really good and it's really neat. There's so many people using that mountain right now because there's really nothing else to do. So anyway, it's been good.
Great, thank you. Councillor Barkle.
Well, self-isolation is starting to wear on me, but I do have good news. The Museum Society is pleased that they got they qualified for the 75% funding of their student for the summer. So that means a little injection of cash for their operation, and you know, museums are always penny pinching, so they're quite happy about that. Other than that, no other report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barkle. Just have to go back to this. Clearly, there's no media or public comment. Karen, you don't need to read your thing again, is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So could I have someone bring forward adjournment of this meeting?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, before we
Yes.
adjourn, if I
Yes.
may, and apologize, but we did lose somebody in our community this past week that will sorely be missed. And I would, and I'm sure you, Madam Mayor and Council, would like to send condolences out to Sue Giannotti. We're going to miss George on our Development Improvement Process Committee. I think George was a tremendous asset to the development community, and he will sorely be missed. So I do apologize for bringing this at the last minute, but I do wish Sue and the Giannotti family my condolences, our condolences. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Patton. Okay, so I think Councillor Holmes, you were bringing forward adjournment. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Patton. All in favor? Great. Thank you so much. And see you next time.